What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Anybody new? Welcome. So today we're going to discuss the reasons why I chose a Genesis Coupe over a 350Z.
Calling us foreigners, cause we do it different. We do it different. Yeah. I gotta focus now, cause I see him slipping. If I want it, then I get it. And that's how I'm living. I just do what I want, cause that's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. They calling us foreigners, cause we do it different. We do it different. Yeah. I gotta focus now, cause I see him slipping.
And there's a reason why I'm doing this video. And that reason is because a few days ago on one of the Genesis Coupe groups on Facebook, you know, you had somebody come into the group and basically start talking trash about the Genesis Coupe. Now, me being a Genesis Coupe owner, I took some offense to it. Not a whole lot, but some. And then I thought, well, and this person owns a 350Z. So then I thought, you know, today I'm like, why not explain why somebody like myself would choose a Genesis Coupe over a 350Z, a Z car, a car that has heritage. And I'm going to tell you that as soon as I get back from the gym and picking up dinner and picking up a movie. I got to spend time with the girls. So, yeah, as soon as I get home and all that, I'll film the video and explain exactly why I chose the Genesis Coupe over the 350Z. And I'll show you some reasons why as well. Hint, hint, Ninja Turtle.
The next day.
Alright guys, so I'm going to jump right into this video. So the first reason why I decided to buy a Genesis Coupe over a 350Z was, sorry, the cough, it was just something new and different to build. At the time, the only other option was other than the 350Z was the BRZ and the FRS, and I wasn't too high on either one of those two cars at the time. I've never really been too high on the 350Z, but I really wasn't too high on the BRZ or the FRS. So, and I loved what Hyundai had done with the Genesis Coupe as far as the looks and as far as what I've heard. So I went with the Hyundai Genesis Coupe, and the possibility of building something that could be a monster. And not to say that those other cars couldn't be monsters in their own right. It was just something different. And it mainly had to do with the fact that Hyundai had such a bad reputation before, and they were coming up out of it, and they decided to put out the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. And again, from what I saw, I loved it, and I love what they were trying to do. So I decided to give Hyundai a chance, and I decided to go with the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. The 350Z, sorry for the cough again, had been around for a while, and I wasn't too high on the car. It's a very common car for me as far as seeing it around and things like that, and you just didn't see a Hyundai Genesis Coupe around. So those were the reason. That was reason number one why I chose the Genesis Coupe over the 350Z, which leads into reason number two, the rarity factor. A Hyundai Genesis Coupe, even to this day, even though the car is going on 9 years old, you still don't see too many of these cars. There are 5, in between Hamden and New Haven, Connecticut, where I live, and you don't really see that. You don't really see those on the road. I see a Hyundai Genesis Coupe on the road every single day because I'm driving it, but you don't necessarily see them that often. And you know, it's kind of interesting. I have people, I'll be at the gas station and things like that, and you know, people will come up to me and say, hey, nice car, what kind of car is it? And when I tell them it's a Hyundai, the look on their faces, it looks like this. Yeah, that's the look. You know, they're amazed, I think they're more surprised than anything that it's a Hyundai. And then what really gets them is then when I tell them that my particular car is a 2011 Rspec, they look at me like, wait, this has been out since 2011? I'm like, no, it's actually been out since there was a 2010 model. And they're just like, oh my God, I gotta go get one. You know, yeah, I don't know if they ever do because I don't ever see them, but it's just very interesting because people are shocked, you know, they're surprised, and then they're impressed. So that was the other reason why I went with a Genesis Coupe over a 350Z. It's just the Z car, the 350Z to me, it's a very common car. Like I said before, you see them all the time. Obviously not when it's snowing, because it's kind of not smart to drive a rear-wheel drive car in the snow. I drive a rear-wheel car in the snow. But I don't know, there's just something about the 350Z that it just doesn't look that good to me. It doesn't look like Nissan put any thought into the 350Z. To be quite honest with you, I think the 350Z looks like a combination of this and this.
While the tank was now future-proofed, the point about smaller ammunition.
And that's where the 350Z came from. Sorry, but I mean, it's just, I don't know, just something about the car. And I have a friend, Spencer, who has a 350Z. Actually, I can't have to admit, I like what he's done with the car. He's actually done a pretty good job, you know, making it his own, as far as it's kind of interesting that I said it looks like basically Ninja Turtle, because his is pretty much money green or something. I don't know if that's money, but it's green, and it's low to the ground and things like that. But it's his car. And then I have another boy, E, who has a Infiniti G35. Again, I'm not too, you know, I don't like either one of those cars, but those are their cars. And if you want to throw in a little side note, that was the other reason why I didn't get a 350Z or Infiniti, was because two of my boys already had them, and it just, in our group, none of us really have the same cars. Well, except for Donnie with his 240 and Richard with his 240, but then they've got other cars too. So anyway, so reason number 3 on why I chose a Genesis Coupe over a 350Z, and it actually has nothing to, this one has nothing to do with the Genesis Coupe. It just has to do with the fact that there were better options to me that were out there. And again, I'm going to look at my list because, you know, I wrote everything down. So my first option, 2, or whatever you want to call it, is the BRZ or the FRS. I just liked what Toyota did and Subaru did with that collaboration. It took a little bit of time, but I've actually come to appreciate those cars and what they've done. And actually, you guys can thank TJ Hunt for that, because you know, and not to say that, you know, I'm like dick riding TJ Hunt. I just think what he's done with his BRZ, it looks awesome. And I've seen other examples where the car looks awesome, and then you see stuff with I can't even think. I think it's Crawford, who that BRZ or FRS, whichever one it was. I think it was a BRZ. But that thing was awesome. It's a YouTube video. I can try to find it for you, and if I can, I'll put it down in the comment section. But what they did with that car was pretty awesome. Take a look. Another car I would have chosen was the Honda S2000. Again, another car, I think that car looks great. It looks like a sports car. It has this mean look to it, but like, oh my God, it's just, whoo. I mean, yes, I needed a car with a backseat, hence the reason why I didn't get the S2000, because it doesn't have a backseat. I don't think the BRZ does either, or it does, but it's like about as wide as my phone. Actually, I think my phone's wider. But, you know, I just love the Honda S2000. You can't go wrong with that car. Should Honda have turbocharged that? Yeah, probably, but I would still take one anyway. Especially since the aftermarket is pretty big for that car, and the things you can just do to that car, it's just pretty awesome. So the S2000 would have been something else I would have chosen. The other car I would have chosen over 350Z actually is another Nissan, the 300ZX twin turbo. Again, that car, even though it was made in the 90s, you could drive one around today, and if you didn't know what it was, you probably wouldn't know the car was from the 90s. You probably thought it would have been from the late 2000s to 2011, 12-ish. If you didn't actually look inside the car and see a tape deck in it. But it was just a car that Nissan, I think, they did a great job with, and I think it did deserve that Z badge. It's just an awesome looking car, and even though it had head gasket issues, it was still an awesome car, and I would have dealt with the head gasket issues. But whatever. Let me know what you guys think about the 300ZX, the twin turbo. Again, I think it's a nasty car, and it has a lot over the 350Z. And of course, my last option is a fairly common car in itself, but I think Nissan just did this car wrong as far as not continuing it. The Nissan 240. I think that the 240 SX was a great car in sorry about the cough. The Nissan 240 was a great car. No matter what year, that car was just great. It looked great. You know, you just had options with that car. I think that Nissan should have actually continued that car and actually gave that car the Z badge. And actually, I think they, you know, with that SR20 motor, there's just so many options, and you know, so many things you can do in the aftermarket with that car, even to this day, obviously. And I just don't see the same potential with the 350Z. These other cars, again, I think those also have more potential than the 350Z. And so, you know, that was reason number 3 why I chose the Genesis Coupe or these other cars over the 350Z by a mile. You guys let me know what you guys think about that list. Add to that list, subtract from that list. Reason number 4, and I could probably go on with a bunch of other reasons, but I'm going to keep it to 4.5, I think. Reason number 4, the aftermarket. I just saw a bigger aftermarket for the Genesis Coupe than the 350Z. But let me break that down even further. I saw a bigger aftermarket for the 2-liter Genesis Coupe, not necessarily the 3.8 liter. And the reason being was because Hyundai was smart to bring out a 4-cylinder turbo, which obviously there are way more parts in the aftermarket for a turbocharged car like the 2-liter Genesis Coupe. The 3.8 liter, not as many. You can, just like the VQ motor, turbocharge those motors, but it just, I think there's just so much more that you would have to do for it to be right and for the car to run right and things like that versus a car that's already turbocharged from the factory. There's just other factors that go along with turbocharging a non-turbocharged car that I just did not want to deal with. And so I think right there, the aftermarket, because Hyundai was smart enough to put out a 2-liter Hyundai Genesis Coupe. And then obviously now with their new 3.3 liter, they've had time to test that 3.8 liter. You know, with the new 3.3 liter twin turbo motor that they got going into the Stinger GT, I think the G70 is also going to get, the Genesis G70 is also going to get that 3.3 liter twin turbo because they're trying to compete with the M3, or at least that was their target car. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to beat the M3, but they're pushing their own limit, which Nissan clearly did not do, because I honestly think had they brought out the 350Z with, say, a variation of the SR20, I think it just, boom, I think it hands down would have just really forced everything. I think the Honda S2000 would have been turbo, excuse me, not twin, but it would have been turbo. The BRZs, and the BRZ, the FRS would have been turbo. But I think because they didn't go that route and they chose to focus on the GTR, and rightfully so, I think they missed out on an opportunity, like I said, to create something like the Nissan 240Z, because I think that would have been a great car. And Hyundai seized on that opportunity and just jumped in there with the Genesis Coupe, with the 2-liter, and offering a 4-cylinder rear-wheel drive turbocharged car. So, alright guys, so let me know what you guys think as far as now that you have, or both cars have been out for a while, obviously. Let me know, would you, if you own a Genesis Coupe, would you prefer to have the 350Z, or if you own a 350Z, seeing a Genesis Coupe, do you want a Genesis Coupe? I think that it's just one of those, I think it's, everybody's going to have their opinion on this matter and things like that. I can be quite honest with you and telling you that I still wouldn't get the 350Z. It's just not a car for me. And to be quite honest with you, if I had the choice between the Genesis Coupe and the new Turbo 4 Mustang, I'd have a hard time choosing, because I actually like that Turbo 4 Mustang and what Ford has done with that car. So let me know down in the comment section what you guys think as far as this video and things like that, and please add your comments down in the comment section. I think it's kind of interesting to hear what you guys think. Sorry that I made fun of the 350Z by saying it looked like a cross between a tank and a Ninja Turtle, but that's what it looks like to me. But I have seen some impressive things with that car. So definitely like, share, comment, subscribe. Make sure to hit that notification button. And I don't know, should we maybe set something up to maybe not settle this once and for all, the 350Z versus Genesis Coupe, but maybe set up some sort of track day or something like that, where it's a Genesis Coupes and 350Zs, just to see what happens. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that too down in the comment section. So anyway, like I said before, like, share, comment, subscribe. The channel's growing. It's because of you guys. And make no limitation your only limitation. Peace.